everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is a Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. This will be the fourth Washington wine episode. I promised that I would focus purely on Washington wines in March. Had some good responses to the other episodes, and yes, I'll try to put, one viewer suggested maybe I could put the description of the wines down in below the video. So I'm going to try and work on that. Sometimes it's a time thing, you know, busy trying to get it done, and but I will do my best to do that. Thanks for the recommendation. So we're going to have a couple of heavy hitters here today. As I mentioned many times, I think that the best Merlots in the world come from Washington, of course Bordeaux, and Italy. And I say heavy hitters because they're above, well, let's just say they're upper 40s, mid 50s, and two are not. And I say big hitters, but when you think about the right bank of Bordeaux and some of the big hitters there, like Petrus, Cheval Blanc, Pomerol, they're Merlots, and they demand hundreds of dollars. So, yeah, from Washington State, not so much. So we're going to get started right away with the Among the Giants Estate Merlot 2020 from Goose Gap AVA. Fairly new AVA in Washington State. This rolls in at $22. Goose Gap is mostly owned by Goose Ridge Winery. Makes sense, right? They're the ones who pushed for the AVA. But among the giants, they got some of that fruit and made their Merlot. And of course, among the giants refers to the fact that they're among some big, giant, well-known Washington winemakers, so wineries. There you go. So let's see what we get on the nose. I love Merlot. One of my favorite varietals. I think it, obviously because of the movie, but for many other reasons. I wrote an article. I'll put the link down below too. I wrote an article about the demise of Merlot, and it's an interesting view of why Merlot has suffered so much, and it's still struggling to get back up in the marketplace. Color is a reddish purple, a little dark. So we get on those. Definitely some plum and dark cherry notes on this one. Getting a little like a boysenberry component. Licorice as well. Let's see what we get on the palate. So it's on the brighter side, more red fruit than I got on the nose, which is interesting. A little peppery on the finish, good acidity, nicely balanced. This is some little minerality on the finish on this one. The licorice notes come through. I'm seriously getting more of a red cherry sort of component on the palate. But like I said, there's good acidity. It's juicy in the mouth. It's not fruit forward. It's very well structured wine. Softer tannins, which you expect from Merlot, and that's why they like Merlot to blend with Cab, because Cab tends to be more tannic structure than Merlot. So Merlot has softer, rounder shoulders, and so they like to blend it with Cab to kind of tone down those big tannins. Licorice notes come through on the mid palate. Like I said, this is very nicely made Merlot. It's a little brighter. Be really good with a pasta with red sauce, spaghetti and meatballs, grilled meat. It hold up nicely. And a long finish too. I really like the finish. It's that kind of licorice mixed with, now there's the plum notes on the backside, and yeah. It's starting to open up in the glass. I've had these open for a little bit, but it's starting to open up in the glass, and I like it. Nice long finish, good structure, good balance, kind of seamless across the palate. Just a little bit on the high tone side, a little bit of a juicy Merlot in the mouth. So, Among the Giants, 22 bucks, great price for this Merlot. I'm gonna go straight up B, hedging towards B+. Let's move on. So Wahluke Winery. They name it because of the Wahluke Gap. This is their 2020 Luke Merlot, Columbia Valley Wahluke Slope, which is an AVA inside the Columbia Valley. This rolls in at $25. We had this at a recent tasting and it was really popular. So, color on this, darker, almost the same as the other one, kind of a reddish black, purple, more reddish black. Should keep the purple out of it. Let's see what we get on the nose. I could have done this blind, but I thought, you know, let's just show these wines, talk about Merlot from Washington State, how good it is. Really, truly. So I get kind of an earthy note on this one. Getting a licorice, I get kind of a dirt component coming through. Licorice, definitely dark cherries. Sort of brooding on the nose, if you understand what I mean. Like, you know, there's some depth to this wine. But I can't get over that kind of earthy, dirty smell. Not in an off-putting way. I know that sounds weird, but it really isn't. Yeah, let's see what we get on the palate. Nice aromatics on this one. Quite a bit different than the other one. It has a high tone on the backside, but up front you get that like dark cherry notes. That licorice comes through. Nice flow across the palate. Good expansion on the mid palate into the finish, where it gets just a little bit of that kind of bright, kind of juicy acidity that comes through. I'm also getting some red flower notes on this one, which is really cool. Solid Merlot. Solid Merlot. And long finish as well. It finishes, it has kind of that dark cherry, and then it gets a little bit of that brightness to it, which is like almost like an underripe blackberry, a little bit, maybe a few underripe cherries thrown in the mix with that licorice kind of lying underneath. You know, you can feel it on the back of the palate. Maybe even hedged toward just a touch of chocolate, which is interesting. Not a lot, just a little bit. When you start talking $25, they're not using a lot of new oak. I think he uses a little bit of new oak on this one, but overall, very well-balanced, nice Merlot. I'm going to go B+, straight up B+, hedging towards A- on that Merlot. Now we're going to step it up a bit here, and I'm not sure what order to go in on this one. This is a 2018 Prospice Merlot, Walla Valley, very, very well-known appellation in Washington State. This rolls in at double nickels. $55. Like I said, Merlots from other places. Well, Massetto from Italy. Massetto bangs out right off the bat at around $600–700 a bottle. So yeah, you know, $55 doesn't seem so much when you're talking that kind of change. 2018 great vintage. So I'm excited to try this. This is dark again. Kind of a red dark color, black red. Let's see what we get on those. Boy, talking about brooding. Licorice, dark cherry, a little bit of currant. Initially I got this hit of like a veggie component, but it's gone away now. This also has kind of a forest floor thing going on underneath. And I'm also getting some boysenberry notes. Let's see what we get on the palate. This is a big boy. This is a big boy. Spicy on the finish. So, initial attack on the palate is big, dark cherry and currant notes up front. It has a nice flow across the palate. Talk about silky smooth on the palate. A little bit of a kind of a grippiness on the back side, but not in an off-putting way at all. Very, very nice Merlot. Very well built. Shows the vintage really nicely. 2018 was a great vintage. Surprised I got my hands on this one. There's a little bit of a kind of a, maybe it's the oak tannins you can feel on the backside. It's drier, but it still has that rich fruit, that nice currant dark cherry, boysenberry notes running through. A little bit of plum as well. Solid wine. I have to go 8 on that one. I just have to. Really, really good Merlot. I know it's 2 nickels, 55 bucks, but it'd be worth the change if you want something special. Let's move on. Now this is a cool winery. John Abbott used to be the winemaker for them. No longer is. John Abbott was famous at Canoe Ridge. This is the 2021 Abeja, which means a little B, Merlot, Columbia Valley. This rolls in at $48. I've always liked Abeja wines. I remember going there when John Abbott was a winemaker. I was impressed way back then. That area right there, where they built up that estate, unbelievable, unbelievable. We have a nice hotel to stay out there, but it's very, very expensive. 48 bucks, Abeja. To be expected, kind of a black reddish color. Very dark. Let's see what we get on the nose. So once again, you get kind of a black plum meets dark cherry meets licorice. Getting a lot of licorice on these wines. No earthiness on this one as much. Yeah, I'm going to say black plum, dark cherry, maybe a little bit of currant. And I'm getting some dark flower petal notes on this one. Let's see what we get on the palate. Wow. I did this in the right order. Just really plush, silky, smooth, good structure. The plum, dark cherry, currant notes come through, front to finish. And then it ends with a little bit of a baking spice component, which is really cool. Not getting as much licorice on the palate. The dark flower petal notes kind of lurk underneath. You know, you can sense them there. But this is a beauty. This is like a really, really nice Merlot. Solid. I think you get a little bit of licorice on the backside, and just a kiss of vanilla. Not a lot, but it's right at the back of the finish. Long, long finish, guys. Wow. 2 really solid Merlots. I think the Abeja hedges out the Prospice just a little bit, and it's a few bucks less, which is really cool. So it's like $7 less. I'm going to go A+ on that one. I think it's a very solid Merlot. It's very it shows what, all of these actually show what Washington is capable of doing with Merlot. Never surprises me when, and you can go under $20. I may do an under $20 Merlot episode before the end of the month. We'll see if I can handle that, if I can get that done. But very solid. These two definitely took the show. I think the Abeja was fabulous, A+. Liked the Wahluke a lot, and the Among the Giants for $22 was really good. I mean, considering the price, good QPR. There you go. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. If you have any other suggestions for my show, what you would like to see me review from Washington, I still have a couple weeks left in Washington Wine Month. This is a cool shirt I got from Sleight of Hand Cellars. It's the dark side of Merlot. That's why I'm wearing it. There you go. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm getting dangerously close to 1,000 subscribers, which is really cool. That's sort of a milestone, I think, and I hope I reach it someday soon. You'll be able to see what's coming up, which is really cool, and you'll see more of these Washington Wine episodes. And I got some really cool things in store for next month, already in the making. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.